And welcome back to Hysterical History. And man, have we got a treat for you guys today. What are we going to be talking about today, Elizabeth?
Well, we're talking about the Age of Enlightenment. And what is the Age of Enlightenment, may you ask?
Well, why don't you take it away, Elizabeth? Or may I say, enlighten us?
Oh, okay. Well, the French and Haitian Revolution was directly influenced by the Age of Enlightenment, a time period in which people fought for their liberty, progress, and separation of church from state.
The Age of Enlightenment was a time period in the 1700s when a lot of logical thinking went on, and a lot of the thinkers objected to the absolute power of the royal rulers and the church. During this time, people fought for their natural rights and freedoms, the idea that there should be separation of power between the people and the government, and that we were born with and granted with certain rights that just cannot be taken away.
The French Revolution was a time where the people of France got tired of the monarchy and decided to overthrow the government and take control. Napoleon, the French military leader during the time, basically restored social, religious, and economic classes by turning France into a dictatorship. He was the first leader in Europe to grant liberty, equality, and fraternity to all religions, and he gained most of his power due to the French Revolution.
The Legislative Assembly during the time decided that church officials and priests were to be elected and paid. Due to the economic reasoning, money made from the sale of the church lands helped to pay for France's debt. This motivated people to fight for the separation of church from state. The French Revolution was influenced by the Age of Enlightenment because people wanted free from the rule of Louis XVI and the power of the church, which was one of the main arguments of the Age of Enlightenment.
The Haitian Revolution, on the other hand, was a time where the slaves that live in Haiti got tired of how they were being treated and decided to revolt not only for themselves, but for the children that had worse fates and would soon be upon them.
The Haitian Revolution was greatly influenced by the Age of Enlightenment because the slaves working in Haiti heard the news that people were declaring their rights, and they wanted to do the same thing. They realized that they were not being treated right and that it needed to change, so they revolted, later on earning the spot for the most successful slave rebellion in history.
In conclusion, the French and Haitian revolutions helped shape America, and quite frankly, shape the rest of the world by changing the way we perceive and see the government.
That is all the information you need to know. Roll the clips.
The French Revolution and the Haitian Revolution was directly influenced by the Age of Enlightenment, and he gained most of his power because of the French Revolution.
The Legislative Assembly during the time decided that church officials from the...
Please! Shut up! Shut up! You ruined our podcast!
When a lot of logical thinking went on. And half the thinkers... Not half the thinkers.
This isn't...
Back to his... during the time decided that the church officials and priests were able to be elected and paid. Due to this economic reasoning, money made from the state and church lands helped to pay for dues to... Reese! Welcome back to Historical History. How are you folks doing today? And that's our show, folks. That just about wraps it up. We hope you liked that episode for today, and we will see you next time on the Hysterically History. And that about wraps it up, folks. We hope to see you next time on Hysterical History. Say that with the music. That just about wraps it up, folks, for today. Hope to see you next time on Hysterical History.